In 1965, the OV-10 Bronco soared over Vietnam, a tough, versatile plane designed for close support. But its dangerous missions quickly earned it a fearsome reputation. What made this aircraft both a hero and a target? The answer might surprise you. The OV-10 Bronco was a unique aircraft. Designed for light attack and reconnaissance, it had a lot of capabilities packed into its small frame. Built for counterinsurgency operations, it was a versatile plane that could fly low and slow, offering close support to ground troops. But despite its power, it had many weaknesses that would soon lead to its deadly reputation. The Bronco had two tails, giving it a unique look, but its small size made it vulnerable. It was light and nimble, but that also meant it lacked the protection of larger, more heavily armored aircraft. The OV-10 was designed for close combat, but that design made it easy to target. Pilots in the field often found themselves fighting against the odds. The same light weight that allowed the Bronco to be fast and maneuverable made it a death trap when facing enemy fire. But its design was just the beginning of its story. The OV-10 Bronco was called upon for many missions, particularly during the Vietnam War. It was used to support ground troops, spot enemy positions, and even engage in combat. The plane was known for its ability to stay in the air for long periods, providing much-needed support. But this ability came at a cost. The Bronco was often used in dangerous operations, where other aircraft would hesitate to go. Its role in Vietnam was crucial. It carried out strike missions, directed artillery, and acted as a forward air controller, which meant it often flew right into enemy territory. The planes had to be prepared to engage in combat, and they didn't have the luxury of time or space to maneuver out of danger. They had to get in, do the job, and get out fast. The OV-10's vulnerability became obvious when it was repeatedly shot down in missions over North and South Vietnam. As its missions became more dangerous, the cost of its design became painfully clear. But here's where it gets interesting. While it had many capabilities, the OV-10 lacked the armor and protection that could keep its pilots safe. The plane's light weight made it easier to destroy, and its design meant that once it was hit, survival chances were slim. The Bronco's ability to perform well in combat was balanced by the constant threat of being shot down. Many soldiers and airmen feared that their next mission might be their last. The aircraft was often shot down by enemy fire, with many missions ending in disaster. Despite its versatile design and tough frame, the Bronco wasn't invincible. If you think the Bronco's story is over, think again. While it might have had a dangerous legacy, its value in combat couldn't be ignored. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the rest of this wild ride through the skies.
While the U.S. Army and Marine Corps trusted it for dangerous, long missions, the crew members were always aware of the risks. And that's where the controversy lies. Despite the heavy casualties and loss of aircraft, the Bronco continued to be used in the war. The men who flew it didn't have many choices. If they wanted to complete their missions, they had to fly the Bronco. But what made this plane even more dangerous wasn't just its role in the Vietnam War, but its history and how it was put to the test in combat. The OV-10 Bronco played a major role in the Vietnam War, where it quickly gained a reputation for being both a life-saving tool and a deadly hazard. Originally intended for use as an observation and light attack aircraft, it was used by both the U.S. Army and Marine Corps in Vietnam. But despite its versatility, the Bronco's reputation for danger was hard to ignore. This aircraft, with its powerful engines and twin booms, was often at the front of combat zones, flying low and slow to help ground troops. The mission was simple: support the soldiers on the ground, guide them to targets, and provide firepower when needed. The Bronco carried a variety of weapons, machine guns, rockets, and even bombs, but it was still a small, vulnerable target for enemy fighters and anti-aircraft fire. However, it wasn't just the weapons that made it a flying coffin. The design of the aircraft itself left much to be desired in terms of protection. The Bronco lacked the heavily armored skin that other bombers had, making it easy for enemy fire to pierce its structure. Once it was hit, it often didn't have a chance to recover, especially when it was over hostile territory with no immediate backup. But the danger wasn't just from the enemy, it was in every flight. One of the most chilling aspects of the OV-10 Bronco was its role in close combat. While it may have been nimble and capable, it was also easy to target.
Pilots flying the Bronco faced an ongoing fear of being shot down during their missions. There were countless instances of these aircraft being struck by enemy fire, either from ground-based anti-aircraft units or enemy aircraft hunting them in the sky. The Bronco's small size and low speed made it an easy target for enemy fighters. It was often engaged in combat with much faster and heavily armed aircraft, making it difficult to evade fire. Once hit, the aircraft had little chance of recovery. This vulnerability, combined with its frequent role in high-risk missions, contributed to the plane's reputation as a flying coffin. During the war, the Bronco was used for many critical operations, especially in North and South Vietnam. The mission was always the same: get in, provide close air support, and get out fast. But the closer the Bronco got to the ground, the more dangerous it became. The aircraft was often flying just above tree level, making it an easy target for ground fire. But it wasn't just enemy fire from the ground that posed a threat. Many Bronco pilots faced fierce battles with enemy aircraft in the sky as well. One of the most notorious operations for the OV-10 was its involvement in the Ho Chi Minh Trail operations. This was a vast network of supply routes used by the North Vietnamese to transport goods and troops through Laos and Cambodia. The OV-10 was used extensively in these areas to spot and eliminate targets, but the trail was heavily defended. The Bronco crews often faced heavy anti-aircraft fire and relentless attacks from enemy fighters. And that's where things get dark. The OV-10 was put in incredibly dangerous situations. Its role in the war wasn't glamorous. It was often the first to engage with the enemy and the last to leave. But this commitment to their mission came at a price. Yet, for all its flaws, the Bronco showed remarkable resilience. The OV-10 Bronco continued to fly despite its vulnerabilities and became an essential tool for troops on the ground. The aircraft's small size, lightweight frame, and versatility made it the perfect aircraft for the missions it was assigned. Yet, despite its advantages, it came with risks that other aircraft simply didn't face. What was more chilling was how its vulnerabilities played into its deadly legacy. The OV-10 was a symbol of both hope and doom. It could take a hit and still keep flying, but it was also more likely to be brought down than larger bombers. It was a paradox. The same traits that made the Bronco so effective were the same ones that made it a death trap. Even after its dangerous legacy, the Bronco was called back into service. Despite its reputation, the OV-10 Bronco went on to serve in many other conflicts after the Vietnam War. It was used in Operation Desert Storm in 1990 and even had a brief resurgence in 2015 during the fight against ISIS in Iraq and Syria. But why does a plane with such a dangerous legacy keep being called back into service? The answer lies in its versatility. It may have been nicknamed the Flying Coffin, but it was also an incredibly valuable aircraft. It was cheap to operate, could perform a wide range of roles, and was perfectly suited for counterinsurgency operations. In fact, many experts argue that the Bronco could still have a role to play in today's military, especially in operations that don't require high-tech jet fighters. Despite its service record, the OV-10 Bronco was eventually phased out of the US military by the 1990s. Its retirement marked the end of an era, but its legacy lived on. The aircraft had made its mark in Vietnam and beyond, becoming a reminder of the sacrifices made by the men who flew it. It became more than just a plane. It became a symbol of resilience and the price of war. But the OV-10 story doesn't end there. After being retired, the Bronco was sold to other countries and used for a variety of purposes, from firefighting to reconnaissance. It showed that despite its dangerous reputation, the Bronco still had value in the skies. As we reflect on the Bronco's legacy, we must remember that it wasn't just a flying coffin. It was a testament to the bravery of those who flew it, even when the odds were against them.